I am Elliot, and Waxwing is my music school. This is part 3 of things everyone should know before their first guitar lesson. In this episode, we're going to be looking at things like naming the guitar strings, naming the fingers on both hands in reference to playing the guitar, and how to tune the instrument. This is a very vital step in understanding how to navigate the guitar and how to communicate with your teacher. So once you have your guitar, what we need to do is we need to make sure the guitar is in tune. Now this is something that we usually have to do almost every time that we play. Different temperatures in the room, if there's fluctuations, or if we're carrying our instrument around, it can also jostle the tuning pegs and it can throw some of those notes out of tune. So first of all, we have to learn and we have to memorize what the strings are called. So with guitar in hand, you can follow along if you like. The first string here, the thinnest one, the one furthest away from us, and it is tuned to the note E. So these notes we want to memorize. We want to know the numbers and the letter notes that the strings are tuned to. So we have first string E, second string B, third string G, fourth string D, fifth string A, sixth string E. You might notice that the first string is an E and the sixth string is also an E. So going over that once more, we have first string E, second string B, third string G, fourth string D, fifth string A, sixth string E. You want to do your best to memorize those notes. You can go through and quiz yourself. You can play them, say the note out loud. This is very important for when we are checking the tuning. If we have our tuner out, here I have mine on my phone. You probably can't see that very well. There will be a little bar going back and forth telling us whether we are in tune or not. And it's going to say at the top what note we are playing. If we play a string and the top is saying E, then we are pretty close to being in tune. We just have to get that little bar into the middle. But if it is saying a different note, like D sharp or F, then we are way out of tune and we either have to tune it down or up till we get to the right note. How are we going to know if we're on the right note if we don't know what the strings are tuned to? Memorize the notes of the strings and memorize the numbers as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so we would go through and either go higher, I'm on F now, or go down until it's in tune with E. Then we go to the next string, that's A, that one's in tune, D, G, this one is tuned to F sharp now, so we've got to tune it higher. You want to tune it bit by bit. You don't want to turn full turns unless it's really out of tune. Now we have second string B. That's good. And E is good as well. So if something does sound out of tune, when we play our chords, really doesn't sound good, right? So we really want to make sure that our guitar is in proper tune. Now this may be a long process at first, but the more that we do it, the faster we get at it, and our ear develops so we can even start to hear the differences of the notes without using a tuner. There are other ways to check the tuning of a guitar without the use of an electronic tuner. You can play an E on a piano, and you can check it against your E or the first string E. If your ear is good enough, you can hear the difference and you can tune up to that. Or if you know that that string is in tune already because somebody else gave you that tuning, if you go to the 5th fret here, right, this note is actually sounding A, which is the next open string. So if we're playing the 5th fret on the 6th string, the E string, and we play the 5th string open, those two strings should sound the same. Now if we do the same, we go to the 5th string here on the A string, or the 5th string, and we play the open D string, this note is sounding D. If I go to the 5th fret on the 4th string, that note is sounding G. and we play the open G string. If this note is out of tune, we're going to hear that that is very wrong sounding. Much better. Then when we're on the G string or the third string, instead of going to the fifth string, it's not going to sound the right note. We have to go down to the fourth fret. This note is sounding B, which is the same as the open second string. So far we have 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret, and then we'll go back to 5th fret to check the E, because this note on the B string is sounding an E note. So those are the main ways of checking the tuning of our guitar. If anything is sounding out, you can adjust it slightly and try to use your ear the best you can to get that note into the right zone. The next order of business is naming some parts of our body in reference to learning the guitar. First of all, we have to name our fingers on the left hand. The left hand is the hand that is doing a lot of the fretting on the guitar, unless you are left-handed, in which case everything is opposite. Whether you're left-handed or right-handed, it doesn't matter. Your fingers are still going to be called the same thing. The thumb is called the thumb. The thumb usually does not come into play on the left hand unless you're playing in more of a Jimi Hendrix style or a folk kind of style. But for the time being, we would like to learn proper technique. You can learn how to use the thumb later on when you're practicing some more advanced techniques. For now, the thumb is only staying behind the neck. Next we have the index finger, which is known as the first finger. If you have learned some piano, you might know the thumb as being the first finger. In the guitar, the index finger is known as the first finger. And then we just go down the line. We got first finger, middle finger is second finger, ring finger is third finger, and pinky finger is the fourth finger. The next part is naming the fingers on the right hand. Now this is in reference for finger picking, whether it's for classical guitar picking or for fingerstyle acoustic. We're going to be calling these fingers the same things. Most of the letters that we use to represent the fingers of the right hand come from the Spanish language, as the guitar is a Spanish instrument. The thumb is known as P. The index finger is known as I. The middle finger is known as M. Here's where it changes. And the ring finger is known as A. The A stands for annular. Fourth finger on this hand is not typically used in classical guitar. It's normally used in things like flamenco guitar, but we're not going to be getting into that, so we are leaving this one without a name. So if you're doing finger picking, we are simply using the thumb, the index finger, the middle finger, and the ring finger, known as P, I, M, A. Now, if we were using a pick to play the guitar, then there are several different techniques that we have to talk about. There are two directions that we can pick, either down or up. And usually, right off the bat, we want to get in the habit of playing both down and up, alternating between those two. If you have guitar in hand, you have a pick in your right hand, you pick a string, we want to begin practicing down, up, and most of that movement is going to be coming from the wrist. You don't want to be moving really far with your arm. We want to be just playing down, up, down, up. You can also down, 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 but you might notice that when we play down, we have to come all the way back around to the top to play down again. We might as well make use of already being down and just play up, down, up, down, up. We're going to be getting used to playing in that fashion for almost everything. Now, when it comes to full-on strumming of the guitar, again, we want most of our movement to come from the wrist. If we're coming from the arm, get these wild movements and we can start scratching up our instrument. We don't really want to do that. So for strumming, you can either play down or up as well. And we will play many different variations of playing down and up while strumming. So we're going to start our first picking exercise. The exercise I'm going to show you is known as the spider walk exercise. Now this is a chromatic exercise, meaning that we just play every note in a row, but we're going to be changing strings while doing it. Okay, so we're going to start with our index finger, our first finger, on the first fret here on the 6th string. And we're going to play with our right hand down. And then we're going to go to the 2nd fret with our 2nd finger and play up. We're going to go to the 3rd fret with our 3rd finger, play down, 4th finger here on the 4th fret, and play up. Now your placement of the finger on the frets should be at least halfway, but preferably right close to the fret. Otherwise we're going to get those ugly buzzy sounds. We want this nice clear tone, right? We don't want to be, we want to be playing with just enough pressure that we're getting adequate volume. We're also not strumming through several strings. We're just playing the one target string, and that picking movement is coming right from the wrist, right? So we play down, up, and we want our fingers to be right close to the frets, remember. And then we change to the next string, play down, up, same thing. We change to the next string, down, up, change to the next string, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? And then we can do that in reverse. Down, up, 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 down, up. Okay. So that is the exercise. This is a very basic form of it. This exercise is used to warm up beginners all the way to advanced and professional players using this exercise. There are many different variations, and I still play it to this day, almost every day. So the main things to focus on when you're doing this is having your finger right close to the fretboard. You don't want your thumb to be hooked on the neck like this, forcing your palm against the neck here. We want our thumb kind of midway down the neck. We want our thumb straight. We don't want our thumb out this way with our palm against the neck. We want our thumb down, halfway down the neck, forcing our palm a little bit forward, so that our hand can come comfortably around and curve the fingers, so we're playing on the tips of our fingers. So we want to be playing on the tips of our fingers right close to the fret, so that if I was to play the next string would sound open. It wouldn't be muted. Right, so we need to adjust these micro movements so that we can have that next string sounding open and clear. So this is our first technique exercise to get us playing, to get us understanding the position of the finger on the fretboard to get a good sound. And the thumb goes behind the neck, not hooked on top. The palm we want to have down and in a relaxed position. And this is the kind of position that we want to begin getting comfortable with. There will be a lot more videos on these types of techniques in the future and correcting little posture things to come. Okay, that's all for part 3. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something about tuning the guitar. Please do your best to try to memorize the names of the strings and the names of the fingers on either hand. And I will see you in part 4, where we tackle how to read tablature and chord charts.